Today is Saturday, May 9th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we're on Chapter 8, Two Wives. We'll read page 114. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Tradition 2. We'll read 137. And of course, read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. Oh man, it's Saturday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for some cereal, some cartoons. Oh, Monday's miles away, right? And that's a nice thing, we just work a one day at a time program, don't we? So with that, hope y'all are doing well, and let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends, so if you recall from yesterday's reading in Two Wives, we were talking about husband number 2, 3, and 4, and how there can be hope for each and every one of them, even number 4, where the case seems so extreme. So it's really nice that there can be hope for anyone who's willing to put in the work. So we are on page 114 today. There are exceptions. Some men have been so impaired by alcohol that they cannot stop. Sometimes there are cases where alcoholism is complicated by other disorders. A good doctor or psychiatrist can tell you whether these complications are serious. In any event, try to have your husband read this book. His reaction may be one of enthusiasm. If he is already committed to an institution, but can convince you and your doctor that he means business, give him a chance to try our method, unless the doctor thinks his mental condition is too abnormal or dangerous. We make this recommendation with some confidence. For years, we've been working with alcoholics committed to institutions. Since this book was first published, AA has released thousands of alcoholics from asylums and hospitals of every kind. The majority have never returned. The power of God goes deep. You may have the reverse situation on your hands. Perhaps you have a husband who is at large, but who should be committed. Some men cannot or will not get over alcoholism. When they become too dangerous, we think the kind thing is to lock them up. But of course, a good doctor should always be consulted. The wives and children of such men suffer horribly, but not more than the men themselves. But sometimes you must start life anew. We know women who have done it. If such women adopt a spiritual way of life, their road will be smoother. If your husband is a drinker, you probably worry over what other people are thinking, and you hate to meet your friends. You draw more and more into yourself, and you think that everyone's talking about the conditions in your home. You avoid the subject of drinking, even with your own parents. You don't know what to tell the children. When your husband is bad, you become a trembling recluse, wishing the telephone had never been invented. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Tradition 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. And if you recall from yesterday's reading, we were at a point where we're hearing the story. And I think it's our good old buddy Bill, right? Talking about how, hey, he might have a lucrative therapy position at his friend Charlie's hospital here. And he's thinking, wow, this sounds pretty good. Why shouldn't I make a little bit of money on this? So he's going to come home with all this enthusiasm, and surely the group that he talks to is going to be okay with this, right? So let's go ahead and find out on page 137. Although I asked Charlie for a little time to consider it, my own mind was made up. Racing back to Brooklyn on the subway, I had a seeming flash of divine guidance. It was only a single sentence, but most convincing. In fact, it came right out of the Bible. A voice kept saying to me, "The laborer is worthy of his hire." Arriving home, I found Lois cooking as usual while 3 drunks looked hungrily on from the kitchen door. I drew her aside and told the glorious news. She looked interested, but not as excited as I thought she would be. It was meeting night. Although none of the alcoholics we boarded seemed to get sober, some others had. With their wives, they crowded into our downstairs parlor. At once, I burst into the story of my opportunity. Never shall I forget their impassive faces and the steady gaze they focused upon me. With waning enthusiasm, my tale trailed off to the end. There was a long silence. Almost timidly, one of my friends began to speak. "We know how hard up you are, Bill. It bothers us a lot. We've often wondered what we might do about it. But I think I speak for everyone here when I say that what you now propose bothers us an awful lot more." The speaker's voice grew more confident. "Don't you realize," he went on, "that you can never become professional? As generous as Charlie has been to us, don't you see that we can't tie this thing up with his hospital or any other? You tell us that Charlie's proposal is ethical. Sure, it's ethical, but what we've got won't run on ethics only. It has to be better. Sure, Charlie's idea is good, but it isn't good enough. This is a matter of life and death, Bill, and nothing but the very best will do." Challengingly, my friends looked at me as their spokesman continued. "Bill, haven't you often said right here in this meeting that sometimes the good is the enemy of the best? Well, this is a plain case of it. You can't do this thing to us." So spoke the group conscience. The group was right, and I was wrong. The voice on the subway was not the voice of God. Here was a true voice, welling up out of my friends. I listened, and, thank God, I obeyed. "24 hours a day, May 9th. We alcoholics use so little self-control when we were drinking. We were so absolutely selfish that it does us good to give up something once in a while. Using self-discipline and denying ourselves a few things is good for us. At first, giving up liquor is a big enough job for all of us, even with God's help. But later on, we can practice self-discipline in other ways to keep a firm grip on our minds so that we don't start any wishful thinking. If we daydream too much, we'll be in danger of slipping. Am I practicing enough self-discipline?" Meditation for the day. In material things, you must rely on your own wisdom and that of others. In spiritual things, you cannot rely so much on your own wisdom as on God's guidance. In dealing with personalities, it is a mistake to step out too much on your own. You must try to be guided by God in all human relationships. You cannot accomplish much of value in dealing with people until God knows that you're ready. You alone do not have the power or the wisdom to put things right between people. You must rely on God to help you in these vital matters. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may rely on God in dealing with people's problems. I pray that I may try to follow His guidance in all personal relationships. Daily Reflection, May 9th. Walking through fear. If we still cling to something we will not let go, we ask God to help us to be willing. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 76. When I had taken my 5th step, I became aware that all my defects of character stemmed from my need to feel secure and loved. To use my will alone to work on them would have been trying obsessively to solve the problem. In the 6th step, I intensified the action that I had taken in the first 3 steps, meditating on the step by saying it over and over, going to meetings, following my sponsor's suggestions, reading and searching within myself. During the first 3 years of sobriety, I had a fear of entering an elevator alone. One day I decided I must walk through this fear. I asked for God's help, entered the elevator, and there in the corner was a lady crying. She said that since her husband had died, she was deathly afraid of elevators. I forgot my fear and comforted her. This spiritual experience helped me to see how willingness was the key to working the rest of the 12 steps to recovery. God helps those who help themselves. Wow, that's a beautiful story in the Daily Reflection. I'd never read that before. Wow. You know, it's so true that when we feel a certain nudge to do something, right? Especially something of integrity, even though we're afraid, even though we're not sure how it's going to go, usually something amazing happens. Like this guy walking through his fear to get in an elevator. And it just so happens that a woman is crying on the elevator. Now, I've been in a lot of elevators, but I don't think I've ever been in an elevator where a woman was crying and needed help. So it really makes you think sometimes. And, you know, on the flip side of that, I've been humbled before. I remember, without giving away my profession too much, I had a situation one time with somebody at my work, and all I did was say, just a kind word, just letting them know what their superpower was, at least, what I see as an obvious superpower of theirs. And I said that thing, didn't think anything else of it, and that was it. I didn't know later on until she told me, but she said that this is about a year and a half later. She comes back and she says, "Hey, you might not remember this, but you said something to me one time when I was going through something really, really tough at home. And I won't get into all of it, but she was going through some things that I had no idea about. And she said, your kind words helped talk me out of possibly harming myself that night." And she told me she had made plans to harm herself that night. Talk about feeling this big, right? I don't say that to pat myself on the back. That is definitely my higher power, because I barely remembered even saying it. So talk about working through people to help other people. Just like this man's higher power in this daily reflection worked through him to help this woman. So by overcoming a fear, he was able to be of service and help somebody else overcome fear. And it reminds me of that old Fred Rogers quote, right? He told the story of this Special Olympics, and when the gun went off, all the kids ran, right? But one stumbled. And as the rest of the kids ran and they crossed the finish line and were just about to, they realized that one of their own had stumbled. And they all stopped what they were doing, went back, picked the kiddo up, and they all crossed the finish line together. And Fred Rogers used to say, life is not just about winning. It's about helping others win too. Beautiful stuff. Well, my friends, that's all we have time for today. I hope you have a great one. If you are sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle, and those who love you are very proud of you. And if you're not sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well, that your story's not done yet. And I just pray that you'd have the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to reach out for help today. By you reaching out for help, you're helping the other person too. There are people dying to help you. I just pray that you get the help that you need today. And as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect. I'm just a joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery, honored to be here today. And for giving another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.